We're live. Hi, everybody. Good evening. It's Wednesday night, never in story time. Everyone ready? Good evening, Midwest Night Watcher. Thank you so much for being here. So tonight is the night when we do our fun, just for fun stories from people who have never been in Scientology. And because we've never been in, and I am a never in myself, that's why we needed one night of fun for ourselves. To tell our own stories the way we want to tell them. So the reason we do this is because a lot of this material is heavy, and we end up having going out on the street and auditing is heavy. It can be very stressful. Traveling is stressful, and a lot of streamers are traveling right now. And even talking about the kind of abuse that happens in Scientology with the children and the elderly, it can become heavy, and it can cause a lot of stress. And so this is one of those nights where we just get together, we have a good time, we say hello to our friends in the chat, and a Neverin gets to tell a story about Scientology exactly the way they want to tell it. So we have somebody. Hello, Cross. Is it Cross? Crose? Cross. Greetings to you. Happy Wednesday evening. It's hump day. Whoop, whoop. Yesterday was International Diversity Day, Alexa told me. So we talked a lot about diversity in our, I talked about it with my members. I have a live members chat every morning where we go on a dog walk and talk about silly things, serious things, whatever comes to mind. And we talked a lot yesterday about diversity, and there's a situation right now with the front company, a shell company in Chicago that's trying to become an exchange called Dream Exchange. And we talked about how amusing it is that Scientology should have a front company whose purported purpose is to be diversity forward, or to increase diversity in the marketplace in the United States. So Scientology, although it does have people of color, especially now that they're recruiting from the Nation of Islam, so in DC and in Chicago, we have more of an integrated crowd in Scientology. But by and large, historically, we all know that it is a very lily white organization. And I think their motto is helping the able be abler. So we know they're ableist. We know that they're not interested in people who've taken psychiatric meds or have, any experience with drugs. So, So in their formal, in what they formally say, anyway, they are not fans of diversity. And so it was an opportunity for us to talk about that yesterday. So I hope you all got a chance to thoroughly discuss how much Scientology tries to squash diversity in its cult. So hi, Susan. How are you, darling? Thanks for coming. Aw, love and support back at you, honey. Are you, Jelen? Thank you for being here. As always, my managing moderator. She hates it when I say that, so I say it. Your managing moderator is the most important person in the chat. And thanks for being here, Are you, Jelen? Here's my other moderator, Midwest Night Watchers. Great channel. He has a lot of very interesting content. As a matter of fact, I will be on that show in July where I'll be telling ghost stories from my real life, true ghost stories, which is always exciting. So, okay, so tonight, you guys, we have, and Gerald says hello to everyone. So tonight we have someone that we've never heard from on my channel before. And I actually just met her for the first time yesterday. So we had been speaking to each other by email and made the decision yesterday after talking for a while on Zoom that she was going to come on and tell some stories. I'm very excited about this one because she's a never-in. She's someone who has not had a lot of exposure yet in the Midwest. And this story is about LA, which is fun. This will be the first story we've had about LA. Most of our storytellers have been talking about the Midwest. So we'll get a recent story about a recent occurrence in LA. And what's exciting too about this is that this person is pretty new to the streaming community. So you guys will have a chance to meet someone new who's a traveling streamer. And you can, at the end of the story, I will show you her website so you can sub and all that. And because she's a traveler, it's more interesting to me. Like, I really enjoy watching the travelers, and I like watching them when they're traveling. So she will be doing, she'll tell you about this, but she'll be doing more traveling in the future. So this will be exciting to see. Hey, Susan S. So yeah, go ahead and greet your friends. Again, this is for relaxation and fun. And I'm going to introduce you now to a new fellow streamer, fellow auditor, and fellow non-LA resident. And here she is. This is Heather. Everybody say hi, Heather.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Heather. I'm going to make you a little
Hi.
bigger, okay? How are you? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
So I
so much
mentioned
for
that you,
having me.
oh, of course. We had so much fun on the phone yesterday on Zoom. So I'm really looking forward to your story. I want to, so I know that you'll be traveling too. So maybe you want to start. Let's start by saying I'll just ask you a couple questions and then I'll get rid of myself and you can tell your story. So the first one is, how long have you been streaming?
Well, I didn't turn on live stream until I scrambled before my trip and tried to get my personal friends to subscribe to my channel to try to get enough, subscribers to get it going and everything. And then once I got to LA, I got a bit of help. So I didn't turn on my first live stream until I got to LA, which was a whole 4 days. So this is completely, I was learning on the fly. I had a
Wow.
brand new gimbal and I didn't know how to work it. It was really in the moment.
That's how most of us do it, believe it or not. That's how I did it.
Doing
I
it.
broke so many pieces of equipment. Scientology broke my first gimbal, smashed the front of my phone,
Oh,
and then I fell on my phone. So I think my phone flung out of my hand the first 3 times in one day because of Scientology.
wow.
So I think we're all getting used to the equipment. We all learn like that. Like we go a few days maybe holding the camera, right? And probably going with somebody with a little more experience, maybe not. And then just start, winging it the best we can. So that was my experience too. And I love that you are a middle-aged lady like myself. And so you just took a trip to LA and you have some more traveling coming up in the future,
Absolutely.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where you're going yet, or can you say?
You know what? I decided when I came back, and I was already thinking along these lines anyways, but I decided to retire early. I do have a career. I decided it's a big decision when you spend 35 years building a career and everything's all settled and you getting ready for retirement and then pulling the plug on that early. So it's not about money. I need purpose in my life. And I've been following cults and Scientology in particular for many years. So
Yeah.
I've been following the Scientology thing in particular for many years. And I believe that once they go down, everybody else goes down. And it's going to be like a domino effect. And I'm going to be out there doing it. So, yeah.
Wow, that is a huge life change. So
Huge.
so the best way for you to introduce yourself is for you to tell this story, because the story begins when your streaming begins.
Right,
So
right.
I am going to sit with you for a few minutes while you tell the story in case you get stuck, and then I'll get rid of myself completely because I really
Sure.
want the focus to be on you.
Yeah, I'm
So,
really nervous. So seeing your face helps me a lot. We talked for 2 hours last night. I feel like you're my best friend.
aw, well,
You're so
everyone
sweet.
feels the same way, okay? So,
Oh, yeah.
really, everybody feels the same way. and you're being greeted by everybody, which is so
Oh,
sweet.
hi
They're all like,
everybody.
"Oh,
Look
it's
at all
so
these
great."
nice people. Oh my
They
goodness.
really are amazing. Like
Oh,
I have the best subscribers on the internet, for real.
oh. That's
I
how
do.
I felt when I was on and some people joined me every day and really encouraged. And why are people so nice? It's so
They
beautiful.
really
Yeah.
are. It's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them
Yeah.
truly.
This isn't
So,
easy. Like it's
okay,
hard.
so why don't you start with your trip, with the
Sure,
actual
sure.
drive? Tell
Yeah,
us about
so
it.
my trip was going to be 3 parts. So I thought because like I'm like first of all, who wants to watch me like everybody thinks. I hear that all the time, but so it's like okay, I have 2 really cute dachshunds. So I have those my little wiener dogs, and I had just bought a new electric vehicle, and I'm Canadian. I live in British Columbia, and I love to travel, road trips. We can travel for 12 hours no problem without blinking. Like that's what we do here. Look at
Right.
all these nice people here. So anyways, so I wanted to live stream what it's like to travel in an electric vehicle in North America. So, and then the third part was obviously Scientology, because I was watching the streams and like all of you guys, like the day in Chicago at the opening, like Shannon, I watched all of that with you. And I'm like, I love this woman. This woman is my, my spirit woman. Like it was so amazing. I just watched it again last night after we talked, and it was just wow. So anyway, so I decided I would drive down about 4 hours inland from Vancouver straight south. So I went through inland Washington State, through Oregon, into California, and then and right when I was driving past the San Francisco area, DOA got swatted in San Francisco. That it was like an hour away from where I was charging up my car. So I took
Oh,
a detour and went and like I was gonna go not save DOA. DOA does not need saving. But I was like, I'm gonna go and bail him out or whatever he
yeah,
needs. I'm here,
yeah,
type of thing.
right.
So I got there and everything, he was gone by then. So I just went and slept for the night at the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. So this is what I love about traveling. It's just like total spontaneity. Do what I feel like in the moment with my dogs and sleeping in the car. And but the EV thing, you guys don't EV through rural America. It's not ready. The infrastructure's not ready. So I ended up getting towed at one point. 3 of the 4 charging stations in one of the towns was out of service. The one that was working was the last one that I had to get towed to. So that's just one of many things that went wrong. My battery, like the smaller 12-volt battery, died at one point. I needed a tow out of LA for that. So that part didn't really go so well. It was great. Oh yeah, and charging. Drive 2 hours, charge for 1. Drive for 2 hours, charge for 1. Like talk about a long trip.
Yeah.
23 hours of driving took 4 days.
Wow.
Anyways, I don't want to talk about that too much, but that was the intent of the whole live stream thing. So anyways, yeah, I'm a little enthusiastic. It was such a, I'm still processing what happened because it was like a major roller coaster. It was, I like excitement. I like getting lost. I like just whatever happening, new experiences. I do well with that. So I know a lot of people don't necessarily want any of that going on. They have to, it has to be predictable, but I'm not really like that. So anyways, so my first night, I finally got to LA. It was about 8:30, I believe. And I went straight to Big Blue. Like that was my get me to Big Blue. Had to get there that night. So I went and I sat across the street from the great big Scientology sign, and just right beside the driveway where they drive in and out the vans. And I'm sitting there and I started seeing like there were Sea Org everywhere because there were no other protesters there. So I'm like, oh my goodness, they're everywhere. I can see them. So I started recording them and taking pictures. Not, I mean, in a way that sounds kind of creepy to me, but I thought if somebody wants to know if their loved one is there and okay. So that was sort of my initial like, why am I doing this? Stick to intention. What am I here for? And then and I was just like, the car was turned off, sitting in the dark. And then within 30 minutes, there were people walking by me, taking pictures of me and my license plate. And I was okay. I knew that was going to happen. I knew, and I had a British Columbia license plate, so they've never seen me before. I'm like, here I am. It's happening. I'm doing it. Like I knew that would happen. I didn't go in naive. I've been watching the streams for months and all the stuff that's been going on in LA. So anyways, after, I don't know, I think I was there about an hour, just chilling out, had just driven into town. And then I decided, okay, nothing's happening here, so I'll drive over to La Poubelle just to see, what's going on over there. Surely there was someone there. So I left Big Blue, and as soon as I passed one of the side streets, someone came, pulled out right on my tail and started following me. And I only knew that for sure because I made some quick turns and drove very, very slow, and they were right on my tail and they didn't leave me. So, they just follow you. And I'm like, okay, I'm being followed. So I did the old lady trick where I was driving like an old lady tourist up on a light. And then right when it turned yellow, I was able to slide through. So I gunned it through the light, and they had to stop. So then I gunned it through a neighborhood and took a whole bunch of turns, pulled the car over and went dark and ducked down. And that was the end of that person. So I lost that person. I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm in some kind of it was like a show or something. Some kind of like crime, I don't know, drama movie or something. It was so bizarre. I've never been through anything like that before in my life. So anyways, I got to La Poubelle, and it's actually quite close. I don't know if anyone can tell, but the distance is like 10 blocks. It's really not that far. Maybe it's more than that, but it was really close. I was surprised how close it was. So I got to La Poubelle, and Zach, and this was about a month ago, you guys. So before all the Zach stuff happened. So it was Zach, Pinche Becky, who is now my dear friend Becky, and who was the third? Oh, it was just the three of us at first. So I arrived there. They were there. I introduced myself. They were doing some harm reduction stuff on camera. So I kind of hung back. And then I went to the door of La Poubelle where the rape drape is. And I looked in, or the grape drape, I should say, the grape drape. And I peeked in, and I'm like, oh my God, this is La Poubelle. It was so weird. Like, I felt like I'd been there a million times, but actually being there, I could get the vibe, the feeling. It was creepy. So I
Can I
peeked
ask
in.
you a question, Heather?
Yeah, of course.
So at this point, did you know anybody in Hollywood? Like, had you? So you
No.
hadn't made arrangements to meet with anybody, right?
No, and I think they thought like I was gonna try to play a trick on them and like play the plant thing and like the whole thing. No one ever, I don't know if anyone ever thought I was a plant that I know of anyways. I'd love to hear what people's impressions were, but I kind of jumped into crazy right away when I'll get there. But the only person I communicated with was Tori, because I love Tori, and I love older people. Like I love seniors, so I wanted to meet Tori like the most. So I reached out to her ahead of time, and we were communicating. So I can't wait to meet you, and she was going to be my buddy while I feel like I had to know somebody at least, and she was my pick. So anyways, so as I'm at the grape drape, looking in, and there was a crack. So this guy opens the curtain, and it's the little tiny little bartender, this short tiny one, and he says, "Hey, come on in." I'm like, "Oh," and it was it was like one of those moments. Okay, oh, what do I do? And I said, "Okay, sure, I'll come on in. I'm not afraid of anything." So I just jump into things. So I went in and had a look around, and he went back behind the bar, and I went and sat at the bar because like he invited me in, so he's going to be my buddy. So I went, and believe me, I know the whole La Poubelle thing, and thinking, oh, should I be here, what should I, like all these thoughts were racing through my mind. But anyways, I had just seen Jen go in, I think a week or two before that, and I'm like, it's fine, they don't know who I am, nobody knows that I'm one of them out there. So I sat down at the bar and I ordered a drink. I got him to make me a premium gin whatever. I said, surprise me, make it good. And so he made me a drink. And it honestly was nice after a long trip of driving. And so then, and I looked around, and it was like this bohemian kind of quaint little, what do you call those? Anyways, one of those little bars. Anyways, so there was a couple people behind me that I started talking to. I talk to people when I go places on my own. I travel by myself a lot, and I made friends with them. And it turns out the girl, she's a model, and she went to LA to model, and she was from close to where I grew up. in Alberta, in Canada. So that was cool. We had that connection, and they also had she had an electric vehicle and but had never traveled with it. So we were having that whole conversation. And her friend, I don't know if it was her boyfriend or her friend, they were both really nice, and we talked. And I didn't tell them why I was there or the whole, you know, Francoise thing. And oh, as a Canadian, I can tell you guys, it's pronounced Francoise because it's a woman. The SE at the end, you pronounce the S. So it's Francoise. If it was a man, it's Francois. So that's a Canadian, French Canadian little lesson for you. Carlos, hi. There's one of my new BFFs in Los Angeles. I have lots of new BFFs. Anyways, so then I ordered a meal and I had the pasta. It was so good. It was really good. I'm not gonna say it was bad because it's them, but the food was really good to me. And then, so as I'm sitting there, I was actually looking for Francoise. I would have loved to talk to her. I wouldn't have talked to her about anything about the cause because I was in the restaurant. I didn't want to put myself at risk, but I would have wanted to just meet her and feel it out. I'm an intuitive person, so I wanted to feel it out. So, anyways, I didn't see her anywhere. I didn't feel at risk at all in there. Anyways, I'm a grown woman. I'm a middle-aged woman. I don't feel like I'm usually invisible in the world. So Shannon and I talked about that. You feel invisible as an older woman. But anyways, I mean that in a joking way. I think it's impossible to invisible me, but but anyways, so then I heard that was the night that there were 6 fire trucks called to that site, and it was like a major SWAT. So I'm like, and I parked right in front of La Poubelle. I left the dogs in the car. I'm like, oh my God, my poor dogs are going to be losing it. And they howl at sirens. So I'm thinking they're out there howling or scared more so than anything. So I decided I can't leave them out there. So and before I went in there, I said, yeah, no, I hadn't said anything to Zach or anybody. So anyways, I said to the bartender, I said, my dogs are out there. I need to go. I need to pack up my food. I don't think anyone's ever taken takeout from that restaurant in history, but I did. So I got my food packed up and went out because it was like, oh. So then the trucks were leaving and the dogs were okay. And that was the end of that. So oh, I forgot to say, and I don't know why I forget this piece every time. So when I was in the restaurant at the bar, finished talking to the couple, a guy walked up to me at the bar with a glass of water and said to me, "So, what are you doing? What are you doing in LA?" And he started asking me all kinds of questions. Very like he didn't smile. He was very direct with me, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So, anyways, so I played up my, he asked like, where are you staying? He asked me where I'm staying. And I'm like, in my car. I'm sleeping in my car. And then I started to play this little kind of game thing. Like, I'm a Canadian girl. I love to camp. I have a skylight in or a, sunroof in my car. I love to like open it up and look at the stars while I'm sleeping. And it's like a camping thing. And I played up the camping and the being off grid. And he's a tall, scruffy guy with a ball cap and a little bit rough around the edges sort of thing. So I thought, oh, maybe he, I knew who he was right away. So anyways, he asked me where I was staying. I said, in my car. And he says, oh, where are you parking? And I said, wherever it's safe. Like, I'm going to tell the guy, am I an idiot? Do I look like an idiot? So anyways, and then he asked me directly why I was taking pictures outside of Big Blue. So I'm like, well, I said it's one of the biggest tourist attractions in Los Angeles. And then I laughed. And then so that was it. Like, what do you what's more to ask me? So I was trying to play a conversation on him so that it's kind of like when you're a victim, you want to make them see you as a human being kind of thing, just in case he decided to do some shady shit. Obviously, he's a PI or OSA, one of the two. Doesn't matter, same ball wax, right? So he's probably the guy that was following me and guessed that I was going to La Poubelle. But I felt good about myself because I lost him.
So this guy approached you in La Poubelle after you left Big Blue. This is your first night in Hollywood, and he comes up to you in the restaurant and says, "What were you doing over at Big Blue?"
Right. That wasn't his first line. He
I
eased
got
into
that.
the
I
conversation, but
understand,
yeah,
but still, that's nuts. That
like
is so crazy.
like pick on me, why don't you? The brand new one, the little the I'm not a little old lady, but the older lady from another country with two little dogs, and you're gonna come pick on me? No, just watch me. So no, yeah, like right? It was so
That's
bold and
scary.
like so brash. Like, and you know what? He's just trying to scare me. I'm like DOA. I don't do fear. Don't tell me what to do. Don't put me in a box. Don't give me a schedule. Don't try to scare me because I'll just get mad. I've got enough rage stored up. I can take care of myself. Like, don't.
Nobody puts Heather in a corner.
No. But I'm nice too. I'm kind. Like, I'm out here because I'm kind. I
Yeah,
care about these people. I really do. And that's number one. And that gets me into trouble because I'm super sensitive, but I don't want to change that. I like
yeah,
how I am. So
right.
yeah, so they're picking on me, really. That made me
Yeah,
mad. That alone.
yeah.
Because if I was some woman that didn't have the guts that I do, like, but they don't hurt people typically. Like, that's not
So they
their
go.
thing.
So you go out and check on the dogs. Are the dogs alive? Are they freaking out, like howling, or what are they
They were
doing?
just happy to see me, so they probably had been freaking out, but I
Yeah.
just, my dogs are my children, and it was
Yes.
a hard trip for them. We live in a really quiet, I work at home, quiet life. I try to
Right.
socialize them to things, festivals and whatnot, but I don't have opportunities. So I knew it would be hard on them, to be
Yeah.
honest. But
Yeah.
you know what? They need to get used to it because there's more coming.
Right.
So yeah. So then I went out of the restaurant and did I answer the question?
You did. Yes. Go.
Okay. All right. Please
You're
stop
doing
me.
great.
I
I just
divert.
wanted to know what happened with the dog. Well, first of
Yeah.
all, it's very scary that that guy followed you from wherever he was watching you at Big Blue, and then he approaches you to intimidate you at La Poubelle.
Right.
Okay, so
That's
now you
inappropriate
leave, which is
and
what I would have
disgusting.
done. I don't think I would have
Yeah.
gone in the first place, but okay. So you leave, you take your food out to the dogs, and then what happens?
So then I got a great parking spot in front of the restaurant. So I went to Zach and talked to them some more. And then who else arrived? So then we in LA arrived. She's so lovely. Oh, even in person, like meeting these people, they're just so lovely. And then who else showed up? So it was, oh gosh, and the whole 3 weeks was a blur to me. So I'm going to do my best. And then Eric Levi was there, and Eric and I had been talking as well because I had offered him my skills I'm a systems analyst, so I do data work. So I think statistics would be great in this cause, and blah blah blah. So I've been sort of giving him, like, we agreed that we would meet while I'm there in order to talk about what kind of things we can do in the future. So Eric, and I did meet Eric. That was awesome. I have a lot of respect for Eric. But he was off protesting the Palestinian situation while I was there, so I didn't actually get to meet with him. Um, if I didn't have my dogs with me, I think I might have changed my focus to that because I have great interest in politics and world events. So anyways, so it was Eric and then Becky. Who else was there that night? Why am I blanking out? Did Aja show up? I apologize if I'm forgetting somebody. Anyways, so yeah, so we went for ice cream and we had so much fun. It was just, I need to go watch it all back. I still haven't watched. I'm having trouble watching myself, but anyways, so we went for ice cream, and then when we're in the ice cream shop, and the ice cream was fantastic. It's everything everybody says it is. Um, Cheeseburger walks in. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting my full meal deal here. I'm getting it all my first night, my money's worth. So anyways, Cheeseburger walks in. He gets in line for ice cream with his head down, being all like, "Oh, I'm so stealth." No, buddy, I recognized him immediately, and I think I even said, "There's Cheeseburger," like really loud. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. I got to be careful. But anyways, and then he stood in line and then walked back out again. So he's scoping us out. And I'm like, oh, great, somebody's going to get followed tonight. So then we got back out onto the street, and I didn't do any. I had no camera, no video, nothing. I kind of forgot. Like it was weird. I forgot to even record the whole thing, which is ridiculous. I definitely was not taking a camera into the restaurant. But so we went back out there, and then Zach was kind of freaking out. That was the night people may remember where Zach was kind of like, this is not safe. We got to get out of here. This is, he was worried about everybody. We in LA was there, so he was worried, and this is not safe. This is not safe. And I wasn't going to argue with that, to be honest with you. I had my opinion about everybody was completely neutral. If not, I just liked everybody from, the streams. And, I trusted that Zach knew what he was talking about. And I thought, you know what, tonight's not the night to get into any kind of trouble. I've already been followed. Why don't I just get out of here? So I got some advice on where to park and whatnot. And then, so I got in my car, and I was the first person to pull away. So as soon as I pulled away, and crossed, so I was going, I think, west on, what's that? Franklin, west on Franklin, away from Bronson, away from Gelson's. And that little side street, a car pulled out behind me and started to follow me. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? And I thought it was Cheeseburger's car. It looked like Cheeseburger's car, I believe. So I'm like, oh, here we go. So that guy, I was nervous. I'm not going to say afraid. I would never be afraid. Because like I said, I feel like he's a little guy. I could beat him up. But anyways, I'm pretty sure it was him, followed me. And so they picked me, I guess. Oh, and before I left the restaurant, the little bartender guy came out again, and there were several young guys going up and down the street. I think Trevor too, because I remember looking, oh, there's Trevor. Look in my mind. There's Trevor. There's, what do they call him? Cotton Tip or Cotton Swab or whatever. And there were a few other young guys around that age that were all like whispery up and down the street, walking back and forth, and I saw it and I knew exactly, because I've been watching long enough. So they were brewing something. That's why Zach got nervous. And I think he was legit. I think Zach had it right. He got a lot of crap for that night, but something did happen, and it was okay. I'll keep going. So I'll try to keep the editorial part out of it. I have my own opinions on everything. But anyways, so then I went up to the little bartender and I said, you know what? You are a very, very sweet young guy. I said, you've been very kind to me. I said, you were very nice. I was trying to tell him indirectly, be nice. Don't put me in a situation. Like, I was playing that. I'm old enough to be his mother, like maybe almost grandmother. So anyways, I guess it didn't work. So anyways, so I drove away, car pulled out behind me. Zach followed we in LA and Eric. They were in the same car because I think he was worried about them. He didn't probably even think that I might be a target. Like, who am I? Like, So anyways, so I drove and I made sure he was following me. So trust me, when you're being followed, So I made some quick turns into some really dark neighborhoods. And there was absolutely no question I was being followed. So I tried to lose them, couldn't lose them, but then I felt like there were other vehicles too. So I don't want to sound too paranoid. So I just kind of parked that idea, and it's just, okay, what do I do here? Like, so every woman knows this is a woman thing. We have to think ahead and know what to do. And I've been around long enough to know you go to the police station and you park. So I went to the Wilcox station. So I put into my GPS Wilcox police, and it came up right away. So the Wilcox police station, and I'm like, okay, police department, LAPD, Wilcox. Like, I've been watching, so I'm like, oh gosh, am I safe there? Should I find a different police station? It's like, no, because this is happening in their division or whatever, and I should go to the closest one. And I thought it was the closest one. I don't even know to this day if it was, but that's what came into my mind. So I went there. It's a really dark street. There's no action. Like, it's usually quiet at night. So I went there and I parked my car and sat there. And I sat there for a while, and then I started to notice like cars zooming by, and it was like really busy. And it felt like, why is this street so busy? And they're going really fast. So I started to pay attention to license plates and what the cars looked like. And some of the same cars were going by over and over again. There were a couple SUVs and a couple cars, for sure, at least, that were like repetitively going by. And this is where I start to feel like I sound crazy. But so I started taking down license plate numbers, but they were going so fast I couldn't catch the whole number. I could only catch like the first 2 or 3 letters. So I was like kind of putting them into my phone as they went by, trying to see patterns and pay attention to the color of the car beside the number just to see. I decided not to go into the police station. First of all, what if it was locked and then I'm outside? I didn't want to leave the safety of my car, basically. And I didn't trust those police. So I've never had that experience in my life. So anyways, so I trying to not drag this out too long, Shannon, because I can talk and talk and talk. So anyways, so then you're going to tell
You're
me.
doing perfect. You're doing great.
Oh, I'm trying not to do the Heather. So then it was a sure thing. So I sent Zach a message on Facebook. I found him on Facebook. We were not friends before. And I said, Zach, by messenger. And I said, Zach, this is happening. And just in case, like, who checks Facebook? I'm an old woman. I have Facebook still, but these kids, they don't have Facebook.
Right.
It was the only way I could reach anybody because I didn't, who am I going to, reach out to? So I went and watched Zach's live, and he was downtown at the graffiti building. So, and he was saying, and he just happened to be saying, this is the safest place in LA. There's like 10 police cars guarding this building. So in my mind, it's like, is Zach trying to tell me to come there because it's the safest place in LA? Like, is that logical? I don't know. But I thought, okay, you know what? I'd rather be with Zach than here sitting in the dark at the police station with people circling that, and I hope I'm not crazy and that wasn't happening, but I saw Cheeseburger. I'm sure I saw him.
Yeah.
But at the very least. But anyways, so you know how you question yourself? It's like, this can't actually be happening. So anyways, so I pulled away and I started to GPS'd it and started to drive. And then I got like a little ways, and then Zach left that location because I'm watching him on live stream. I'm like, oh my God, oh no, now what? So I was on Santa Monica and Western, and it was a corner. It was really busy. It was like, by then it was like 1 a.m. It was really late, 1, 2 a.m. It was probably closer to 2. And then, so I parked the car in the parking lot on that corner, and there was like a food vendor, and it was quite busy. Hispanic people like joking and hanging out and
Yeah.
eating, and the parking lot was full of cars, lots of action. So I thought, this is the place to be. So I parked my car, I pulled in normally I pulled in, and then within minutes, some guy in a big white SUV pulled in the row behind me, in the exact spot right straight behind me, pointing his lights at me, a huge SUV, pointing his lights at me. So I'm like, oh crap. And then he's just sat there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously? I was getting mad. Like, I get mad first, react later, or get upset later. So I pulled out of the stall, and then I backed into the stall, and I turned my lights on back at him, just to like no one intimidates me. So then he got out of his vehicle. He walked across the parking lot and just stood there looking at me, smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, who smokes? Scientology and La Poubelle
Who do we know that
customers.
smokes? Right.
Right.
Who do we know that smokes?
Yeah. So he's kind of a Russian-y looking guy, kind of. I could probably almost identify him if I saw him again. But anyways, so I just stared him down. And then, so eventually he left. And then, but just as he left, a black SUV pulled into the parking lot 2 rows over, facing towards me. Same story. And he actually got out. He kind of looked like the guy that was standing next to Sean in the Chicago. Remember when when they were arrested that older man, and Sean and this guy standing, the guy that had bumped into you.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He kind of looked. He was like a round man, round. So he looked like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So Anyways, so then he went and got some food. So he was at least smart. So he kind of looked like he belonged. He was there for food. So Lapu thugs for sure. I think, in my opinion, Lapu thugs with OSA/PI mixed. I think it was a mixture of all of it. Sean Galindo, yeah, Sean. He's such a douchebag. I'd like to punch him in the face. Anyways, not really. I don't punch people. So then I sat there for a while, and then did he leave? No, he didn't. He sat there for quite a while, and I'm like, I'm not going to sit here all night. Like, really? I need to go to sleep. So I went back to the police station. Thought that really truly is the safest place because this parking lot's going to clear eventually. So I went back there, I sat there, and while I was there, somebody drove by and splashed something down the back of my car. So that was the moment, Shannon, when I thought, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not dreaming this up. That was not some rando like being a dickhead. That was an actual, right? So that's when I
Yeah.
knew for sure because I'm questioning myself, right? Like, am I losing it? I'm in LA now and I've been watching all this for weeks. So, anyways, yeah. So that was the clincher. Then 3 people walked up. I was parked, the vertical police sign that's lit up. I'm sure everybody knows because we all watch this stuff. And I parked right there, and then 3 young people, like a black guy, half black guy, a white guy, and a girl, a blonde girl with pink in her hair, came up and started posing in front of that picture, like 2 feet from my car, like giving the finger to the sign, and they were posing in front of the sign, but they were doing it right beside my car. They looked exactly like the 3 that had done a number on DOA. Just was it like a few days before that or a week before that at La Poubelle where they shoved the table and the table broke
Right.
and everything.
Right.
So that's who they looked like, those 3, or possibly the guys that Streets was, attacked by, not attacked, got the elbow because the guy never attacked. It was an accident. But anyways, so while he was fighting him, anyways. I gotta watch my words. Anyways, so I just knew it was one of those sets of young people for sure, because I recognized them, but I couldn't quite remember. So then I'm like, okay. So, and by then the car circling thing slowed down and it seemed like there was nobody. So, and the kids left, and I'm like, you know what? I got to make a move at some point. So I started to drive away. I didn't feel like anyone was following me. So I did a whole number in the whole neighborhood around there trying to make sure. And then I hit the highway and headed out of town and went to Malibu.
I would
It's like,
have
I'm
thought
getting
I
the
was
hell
done.
out of LA. But
Yeah.
funny enough, when I got to Malibu, the minute I drove into town, the police were on my tail and followed me the entire time. I
Wow.
couldn't believe it. So I got my full, I spent a lot of money on that trip. I got my full money's worth. It was like, oh my God, it all just happened to me. I only met a few of the protesters at that point. Like, it was all dark within 3-4 hours, all this happened. Crazy. So then I parked at this is my strategy for parking, at an EV charging station, and I plugged into the slow charge, which takes 8 hours in my car. So that's a night's sleep. So I felt safe there. Malibu, safe. So yeah, it was really good. But
Yeah.
I'm a stranger to that town. The next
Right.
morning I went for coffee and they were drilling in the parking lot. So I went to a different parking lot to drink my coffee, and the police drove by and took a picture of my license plate. Where I live, cops don't do that kind of stuff. So it was like, wow, I'm
No,
not
that's
used to
not
a police
normal.
state. It's a police state. It was really weird, and we're
Yeah.
supposed to be the socialist country. Like, it was really weird. I've never seen so many police in my life. Oh, and when I was parked at the police station, there were helicopters circling overhead of me. Like, am I being
Hmm.
swatted? That would have been gold. I mean, it was just like, so that was my first night. Yeah.
Welcome to Hollywood, honey.
I know, and then I got the pleasure of parking. I was the car with the aluminum net over top in front of Big Blue with DOA and Jay when he arrived,
Right.
sleeping like we occupied. That was
Right.
really great. The barbecuing and all the people coming out. I got to meet just about everybody. I didn't meet Streets. I didn't meet Cam. And there were probably a couple others I didn't meet, but I think I met just about everybody. It was wonderful. Yeah, I made some amazing new friends. It was really great.
That's
So
great.
I've just semi-retired. I'm working on it. I just bought a
Hmm.
van. I just test drove it today, a live-in van. I'm going to do the van life, hit the road, and go. And I think I'll come to you.
I hope so. Yes,
Yeah,
please
I will.
do.
I will.
Please
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
It's
I'll
not
do all of
Chicago.
North America.
That's a great story, man. That's some first night in Hollywood, honey. That is
Way to give
some
me
first
material.
night.
Oh, and then the day at, not the next day, but the day after that, Jay arrived from Denver.
Hmm.
Wonderful, wonderful
Hmm.
person. And we
Yeah,
went, he wanted to go to the police station and announce himself. I'm here. I'm a protester. I don't have weapons.
right.
I have pepper spray. I'm peaceful. Hi. And that's so smart. And I was thinking of doing the same thing. So I said, oh, good, because I'll go with you. And I didn't want to go in there alone. So I said, and then it was my turn. And I said, ditto. And then I said, this thing happened to me the other night. This is the part that's important. So this is the part we'll see what happens next. But so it was the older cop at the desk that we like, kind of baldish older guy. He's always been utmost professionalism from what I could see. But anyway, so I was glad when I saw it was him that was there. So I got up there and I said, I had an incident the other night. I told him in it quickly as I could what happened. So he went to the back, he came back out and he said, oh, Rand is on that case. First of all, I'm like, oh, Rand. It's like I know these guys. You can tell I watch a lot. So anyways, oh, great, Rand. So then he said, Rand is on that case. And I'm like, that case? Well, I've never been here before and I'm not in a case. So then I said, well, no, I want to report what happened to me. I'm not in a case.
Right.
It was really
This is
weird. It
my
was like,
case.
what are you talking
Yeah,
about? Like, what
right,
case? I live in
right.
Canada. Like, I'm not in a case. And so he said no. And I said, no, I'd like to make a report. And he said, no. Yeah, I just saw that. Oh, mugged. Oh my God.
We'll go
Yeah.
through comments and questions at
I'm
the
so
end.
lucky that didn't happen to me because that might have made me scared, to be honest. Any physical, anything. But I'm a big girl, so I'm almost
Did you
6 feet tall.
did you ever get to file a report?
Well, that's the thing. I'm standing there trying to file a report. He wouldn't do it. He said, come back when Rand is here. So I'm like, I finally caved, and Jay was with me. We finally caved and walked out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
later, I'm like, why did I leave? That was, if Streets was there, we wouldn't have left. I would have filed a report and got a number. So anyways, I didn't go
Take it
back.
easy. It was your first night.
Yeah, and then I told all the other streamers what
Yeah.
happened, and it was all really weird. But because all the Zach stuff started up. And I think this story got lost in that, to be
Hmm.
honest. I don't know what happened, but everybody was distracted. So it kind of just fizzled away. And I was
Right.
thinking about it every day. Like, what should I do? What should I do? I didn't go back. But it's not too late. And I'm still sitting on
Right.
what to do. But you know what? Apparently somebody said it's illegal
Yeah.
for a cop not to take a report. Easy case, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's illegal, let's think about that. So I got to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any evidence
Right.
whatsoever about people that were following me. I think that's a dead end for sure. But what happened to me in the police station just validated my concern about the police in that city.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
one of the reasons that I was concerned going to that city as an international visitor. And that's a concern. And I should send a letter to
Right.
I will be, and Shannon, you're going to appreciate this. I will be sending a letter to the Chamber of Commerce, to the Karen Bass's office, to everyone I can think of that as a visitor to your city. This happened to me the first night I got there as a peaceful protester, to
Unbelievable.
join a random unassociated group of people that have a common cause. And this is what happened to me, and this is how your police made me feel. Scared to go in the first place, and scared, not sure what to do, and turned away at the door. So
Yeah.
to me, that's the biggest problem of anything that happened to me. So,
Right.
and from that point on, nothing. I mean, I have other stories for sure. It was just the whole
I'm
two and
sure
a
you
half
do. And I
years.
said you're welcome to come back and tell them anytime you like.
For
How about
sure.
that? How about if you
Yes.
come back? You want to look at some, if you guys have questions, just write question, but I'm going to go back to the beginning. And I know you saw some of these, but some of them I just want to make sure you saw, okay? So I'm going to go back to the beginning and we'll look at some comments. So, Oh, this is not you. Sorry. Yeah. Did you see this? This is my friend in St. Louis.
That's like secret.
Um, that's what I said. That's
I
exactly
know.
what
I'm like,
that really
is
is.
this happening right now? What is
That's
happening
some,
right now? Hi,
yeah,
Holly.
that's some secret agent stuff for sure. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Hello,
I find it
Holly.
hilarious.
Oh man. Um, did you see this one? Lapu seems like Desperation Street with people laughing, music, people, and thinking of SA makes me hate the sidewalks of LA. It's true. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I would never, I mean, yeah, you're the only person I've ever talked to that's been inside. So that's all new
Wow.
information for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was a neat place, to be honest. If that crap wasn't happening, I had a creepy vibe, feeling energetically in my body, but
Yeah. Well,
that
no wonder.
going
Um,
into it, I knew what was going on there. Yeah,
is this someone
Carlos.
you know, City of Angels?
Yeah, my
Aw,
buddy. Yeah, he's a beautiful
sweet.
person. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So thank you. Are you gelling? Please hit the thumbs up, guys. Hit the like button, please. Yeah, scary Osa stuff. The guy coming up to you, that scares the crap out of me.
That was very
Um,
direct. Like
yes,
how brash, hey? Yeah.
right. Right. So Scientology Squirrel says you remind her of a model from Canada and she subscribes to her channel. If you
Aw.
remember her name, Kate,
Um,
say it, okay? Put it
As a
in the
middle-aged
comments if you
woman,
remember.
thank you. You just made my day.
Yes, exactly. So doesn't that make you feel good?
Ooh, I thought I was
Holly says you're
invisible.
a badass empath.
Wow, I love that. I am an empath for sure. I think I'm badass too, actually. I think I agree with you, Holly.
And yeah, there was a lot of support for you when you said, am I being paranoid? And all the women in the chat are like, no. You were concerned that people might think of you that way, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
not at all. I
Isn't that
I
interesting? We
saw
go
them
to that.
in action.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I think that's a thing. I
Doubting
think women
ourselves.
are we've all been in those sorts of situations where we're made to feel like we're crazy and we're imagining these things, but like
Yeah,
women you can't just walk down the street ever anywhere. It's just a different
right.
experience being a woman, and that's part of it. Mhm.
Well, like Scientology Squirrel said, it's vigilance. You just learn to be
Right.
vigilant
Exactly.
about
And
what's
being
going
in
on
LA,
around you.
to be honest, like the energy in LA was very because I've been to LA a million times for on
Yeah,
vacation, but this LA that I saw was it's frenetic energy. It was very everybody's tense. And I noticed I just wanted to take everybody to the mountains, like all the people I met. There's an edge. There's an edge there. And by the way, I did experience culture shock because Canadians are very different. So I had that going on. So that was hard for me to deal with. I had to work through that. And then also just the energy of LA and everybody's, and then like the setting, because we're at Scientology, that building, there is a feeling there. It is very creepy for sure.
yeah.
I felt it the whole time. So yeah,
Wow.
it's the frenetic energy and everybody's nervous and high intense kind of, yeah, that's what I experienced. That's how it felt.
I think you'll find the Midwest more what you're used to.
I think so.
You
Yeah,
know.
I've been there. I love it, love it, love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
So Serenity now says PIs, white and black SUVs, from my
Okay.
experience, and
Yeah,
that's the truth. I have seen Scientology using PIs that drive SUVs a lot.
right. They spend a lot of money. Didn't someone say something like $100 million a year on PIs or something crazy?
Unfreaking believable. So
Yeah,
unbelievable. Okay, and that's what they do with their parishioners' money.
yeah.
Yeah,
What kind of church is that? Ew. You know. Yeah, it
crazy
was.
town. So Crow says, ready to meet you in Chicago.
Chicago's one of the only big American cities that I haven't spent any significant amount of time in. So I'm really excited to go to Chicago. And
Oh,
now I
me
have
too.
friends there. So,
Yes, you do.
oh, in
Yeah, I can't wait.
Jacksonville. Ooh,
Welcome anytime. So
yeah.
yeah, SPT never ends. Let me know when you're heading to Jacksonville.
SPTV never ends. I'm going to I should start a list of all the people and I'll just announce it. Like, yeah. Because I'm going to do all of North America. And then in the winter, I can't come back to Canada in the winter because because I can't live in my van in the winter. So I might go down to like Florida, Texas,
Right.
maybe Mexico even. Are there
Right.
still orgs in Mexico?
There is an org in Mexico. I know there's at least one. There's an ideal org that opened this year in Mexico.
Cool. We shall see.
Yeah, The Handmaid's Tale. That's how
yeah.
I knew who you were.
Right.
That and the tarp over your car at the next to DOA's van.
Right.
That's
Right.
how I
So
knew who you were.
the Handmaid's Tale costume it screams cult, first of all.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Moss, who is the lead in that miniseries, anyone who has not seen The Handmaid's Tale needs to see it. It is one of the best miniseries I've ever seen. It's fantastic.
It's
Elizabeth
pretty
Moss is a
amazing.
fantastic actress, one of my favorite of all time. She was in Mad Men as well. She played Peggy. So
Yeah.
she's one of my favorites. So when I found out she's a Scientologist, I was so disappointed. Oh my God, it was upsetting. So I'm dressed up as her basically. So I went to Pasadena, Ventura, San Francisco by myself as Portland in my Handmaid's Tale outfit with my dogs. And my dogs were in costume some of the times. And one time I left them in the car because it's a lot. But
Tell about
yeah,
the costumes, what the dogs' costumes are.
so the one with they have little red tutus. I couldn't get them to stay on, so I have to work on that. And then the other one, oh my God, and this is a fail on my part because I didn't get a picture of it, but I got them matching capes. Scotty's DOA's the king cape he wears, the red.
Yeah.
They're identical for the dogs. So I should have had a picture of him with the dogs in his lap
That's so
wearing these.
awesome.
So they're his little queens, or princesses.
Very cool.
I had other things that we didn't wear, but yeah.
Next time.
Exactly.
So Moose on the Loose says, live that fan life. I'm so excited for you.
I can't tell you. Like I got to find out how to live because I'm leaving my job. So I have to figure that part out, but I'll just worry about it. I'm always okay in the end, so I'll figure it out.
Yeah. You're badass.
Starbucks on the way.
Badass lady. So here, let me share let me take myself out.
Yeah, that's my channel.
Sorry. I realize you couldn't hear me now. This is her channel. So it's Ham It Up Again, but her handle is Ham It Up Again, all small letters. So you don't have to remember the big ones, the small, and just put Ham It Up Again and you'll find her.
So those 570 subscribers are thanks to the other streamers in Los Angeles, the couple people that helped me build it up a little so I could live stream. So yeah, my live streams are very different than anyone else. Like most people turn it on when they're about to start like protesting, but I had it going for the crazy stuff when I'm like getting my costume on the street and talking. I talked to so many homeless people. I had such a good time talking to people. So I documented a lot of that. So it was very it's real, like it's reality TV. I think it's a little bit more it's not polished, let me say it that way, and it's probably shaky. I don't know what I gotta practice and figure out my gimbal.
You learn as you go and it all works out great.
Totally.
So thank you so much for being on the channel. Thanks to all you wonderful supportive, aren't they amazing?
They are.
I mean,
aww.
I love my subs and I love you new watchers. So please come back and watch next week. We do this every Wednesday. It's low key. You can ask whatever question you want to ask, make comments as the story goes along. And you were wonderful. I can't believe you were nervous. You're a natural. Aww. And I'm going to keep my eye on you, girl. I'm going to have my eye on you.
Well, I'm going to come stalk you in Chicago, Shannon. So look out.
Good. You're the only stalker I've ever liked. Yeah. So we'll see you soon then, right? I know you can't say exactly when, but we'll see
I'm
you
hoping
soon,
within
right?
weeks I can hit the road. I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm working on it. I just test drove the van today. Went really well.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Congratulations.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, everybody, for coming today. Okay, Heather, hang on. Don't leave yet, all right? Thanks again, honey. All right. All right, guys, we'll see you next week on Wednesday for another never-end story about Scientology. And if you're interested in being in one of these shows, send me an email at Chicago Scientology Audit at proton.me. Thanks. Love you guys. Come back. See you next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.